Good morning, and welcome to another episode of IoT with your faves, Kevin and Azam, featuring Jade Johnson.
Morning.
Morning, morning. How you do?
Like your shirt, even though that was very weatherman-like.
Thanks.
Oh shoot, wrong way. Okay. Hmm. My belly hurts so bad. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Oh boy, how everybody doing? How
Well,
you
you know
guys?
how I'm doing.
Yeah, good. Yeah.
Yikes. What can you do? Just
How you doing, Kevin?
Good.
Yeah, boy. I don't know. You you were missing yesterday and still get blamed for everything. I don't know how you get it done. It's a gift. It's a gift.
you saw as if smartly trying to
Hey.
throw his tantrum yesterday on you.
But stop playing.
Okay.
I don't know what you're talking about.
We hear you.
Yeah, but I guess for the most part everybody's doing okay. I mean, we know Jade is having her ails, but I have faith in you.
Yeah.
Jade's
that is-
usual ailments, it's
No, this
a
ain't a
regular
usual
thing.
one. This ain't a usual one. It's a fresh one.
A fresh one.
This one's decided to
This a
start
fresh
this morning
ailment?
when I was leaving. Perfect timing.
That's normally how it works, eh?
Yeah.
It's normally how it works. But hey, what you gonna do?
Nothing but disappeared during the show.
Anything interesting happening in your guys' lives?
No.
No,
Hmm.
I forgot to put sugar in my coffee, but hey,
Bro, I thought you were on a minimal sugar consumption like diet. What going on?
Yeah.
Listen, you just start out strong and then sometimes you just falter. Like me right now, I'm faltering.
No, you know what it is? I think we all have that thing where it's just we have that thing that's the exception. I could see coffee
That's
being the
it now, you know?
exception.
Coffee wasn't mine. I still don't put sugar in my coffee.
Hmm.
I can drink sugar. I can drink coffee without sugar, but this is a latte, so
Ah, yeah.
We fancy.
I don't know.
Fancy.
The thing used to be for me was the snacks, like the cookies. But I've been doing good.
Yeah, just don't buy them. You can't eat them.
Exactly. But what does end up happening is I got other place to sell them, and then it's like, wait, me had one in like 2 weeks. I could.
You see,
I
that's
can
how
have
it
one.
started.
ooh, 2 weeks. That's a long time.
No, I've been doing good with the sugar consumption. So much so that
No, that wasn't sarcastic, by the way. 2 weeks is actually a long time.
no, but I mean the thing is like I've gotten to the point where the initial cravings have passed, so I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That first week is horrible, and then when you get to the second week, you're chilling.
the withdrawal symptoms. Yo, I ain't gonna tell no lie, right? After listening to the principal of Nevis Academy yesterday, like I've been thinking about some of the stuff she been saying a lot. Like,
Don't give a kid sugar.
man, like when you know what has to be going on in a child's life to recognize that they no longer have mood swings.
A lot.
Like children recognizing that because what I eat, I have severe headaches and migraines.
Yeah,
That is
that's extreme.
insane to me, yo. Like that was blowing my mind yesterday. I ain't gonna lie. And the thing about it is, when we talk about creating these sugar-free environments for our children, we know what the adverse effects of sugar are,
We do.
and we had some and
Yeah, that's a big mosquito bite, but I wear some.
morning, Witty.
Okay.
But and we like for instance we know what the effects of like consuming sugar are, like we know, and then we had some unintended positives coming out of like the reduction in the sugar consumption of the kids at school. And when we talk about creating those types of environments like for children at school and whatever, it's like oh my god, how can we not let them eat conkles? But then we police what color socks they wear.
And the hair that goes from their head.
And they hear that goes on the head and how they choose to wear it.
Yep.
I have a gear to grind.
Grind it,
This
I mean,
Thursday.
don't
Rain
fall.
grind it.
You just start me up, and it's a gray we've gone before, but I'm gonna say it again because I think it's one of the most ridiculous things to do, and the self-hatred that breeds from it is disgusting. Why are we policing our black children here in schools? Why are we asking black children to continue hating themselves and the hair that grows out of their scalp by telling them they can't show up with this hairstyle, that hairstyle, they can't have to be this, like,
because their excuses, they're preparing them for the real corporate world.
No,
and the real
what's
world.
happening is in the past, students were able to wear, especially boys, they were able to come to school, and girls come to school with afros.
Okay,
which is the way our hair grows.
Stick up in right there. Stick up in right there, Kevin.
Okay, I'll try.
Yes, because what Kevin said struck a nerve. It's so funny. I was thinking about this on the drive here with Jade, because when she jumped into the vehicle this morning, like my Afro pick fell. It was on the seat and it fell down, right? And she was like, "What you doing?" Oh, right.
I was like, "Well, you have an Afro pick."
And so that took me back
scratch.
That would be a good reason.
That took me back to like my high school days, where my hair was always a big problem. I would get sent home regularly because of my hair. And I remember one time my Afro pick being called a weapon. Yeah, saying I'm coming to school with a weapon.
For me, while I can see why it was branded a weapon at some point, are you not happy that children, especially males, are keeping their hair kempt during school?
Like
it's an afro. Honestly, something cannot, you touch it, it get a dent. Are you not happy that the child is concerned with their appearance, which is the whole purpose of uniforms and things? Like, why are you like,
right?
What do you really want? I think is the question that we ask. What is the purpose of? I think we don't need to ask about, policing the hairs is more of the, I think the real question is, what do you really want?
Right.
And this is for the organization. What do you want? And in that being said, what do you want this to do? What does this do? By asking boys to cut their hair off, what does that do for you? What does that do for the child? What does that do? Like, what? Why? This is
the thing, Kevin. I was responding directly to what you said about the past. One of the many times that I ended up in the principal's office, and I wasn't a particularly troublesome child. As a matter of fact, big up Miss Cable one time. Like, we have a really good relationship, even though. But one time I was just speaking to Miss Cable, and she was actually getting on me about my hair, as usual, which was one of the main reasons I would have to go see her. And she pointed to a picture that was hung. I think it was a photo of a graduating class from the 70s. And she goes, "You see, this is when it was principals, not men." And every single male student in the picture was wearing an afro, and every single female student was wearing a mini skirt and knee-high socks.
Ooh.
Every single one had on what would be akin to a netball skirt now. and I couldn't understand what was I was looking at her and I was like, do you understand what's happening right now? Like, I'm in here because I have an afro, and you're pointing to a picture with
many
afros and telling me that's when it was principals, not men.
Listen, I would never understand this here debacle, because your hair doesn't stop you from learning. Like, it's not like your hair is a hindrance. Are we not going to school to learn? Are we
no.
Yeah, I just
no.
What do you mean no?
No.
We don't go to school. We don't go to school.
They don't.
What we go to school, we don't go to school for learn. What we do is teacher. I mean, we
said it a while ago. They tell you, they prepare you.
The system is just a factory process. A conveyor belt of life.
I'll tell you something.
Preparing you to become another statue in the community.
School as we know it, public school as we know it, came at the turn of the century, the same time with the Industrial Revolution. And so there needed to be an apparatus to be able to prepare workers to be able to join the new industrialization that was happening in the economy. That's what public school as we know it. That's why we have public schools. Like and until
actually teaching us real world skills.
Until we look, how is it that I'm coming out of school? Some people not some people, a lot of people, they have no idea of proper budgeting, saving.
Just about money management.
Well, financial, what is it that I'm coming out of school and I don't know how to invest in the stock market?
Things that we actually need, We don't have money management skills. We don't have, some people come out of school and don't even know about sex education and all these things. Real world.
I just can't.
What we do school? What we learn in school again?
The way these policies teach children to hate themselves is ridiculous. Beyond the whole system, the whole preparing you for life thing. Students come to school with their hairs in whatever way they can wear them, especially young children, and they are being told so many negative things. Oh, your hair can't fit in one. Oh, your hair can't. Leave the children alone, and please, and stop projecting your own self-hate on these children. You're literally teaching them to hate themselves, and they don't even know as yet. And then you're giving them all of these false ideals that you don't even feel comfortable with. Why are we teaching our children that the hair that grows out of your head is bad? Why?
That actually it's more than schools, because even parents. One time I was walking to the square, and I was not listening, but I overheard a conversation about a fresh out the womb baby, and they're here, and they don't have good hair, they don't have their either mother's side of the family is here or the father's side, and I'm like, this is
fresh out the coach.
This is what you're concerned with. This is literally what you're concerned with right now. What is good here? All here is good here. Stop with this stupid ideology of good hair versus bad hair, because some people's hair straight or curly or kink. There's no such thing as good hair or bad hair. Your hair is your hair.
All hair is good hair. And I think that when we
take care of it, it is good hair.
Yeah, I think when we really need to start teach, and even if your hair is not taken care of, you can make suggestions and recommend things and say nasty things about it. Because how about, for me personally, I remember in Bastia as a student, I never kept an afro really, sometimes, but it never got long enough for them to complain about it. And my hair was so unhealthy because I knew nothing about hair and hair care, because as a man you sort of just thought that you brush your hair and go, or you just rub a bar of soap on it, which is so bad.
Terrible.
ever since I've stopped doing that, which is probably the last 10ish years, I've learned how my hair actually is, and I've learned how to make it make sense.
But look at it, what you're saying, Kevin, is so true. Even that kind of stuff, the self-care, even physical self-care is something that we don't learn. Most people start figuring out the best hygiene routines, the best things for the hair and the skin when they're in the 20s.
Literally.
When they're in the 20s.
When you're grown up. So again, what? Anyway, maths.
Yeah, but I mean, and it filters down in so many different ways. I sometimes cringe when my female friends subconsciously give off certain hints and signals to the female to the daughters, and sometimes it goes I don't want to say anything, because it is such a touchy topic for most people when you start talking about not only the appearance and the things they do in terms of how they present themselves and how they project beauty, but also how they raise the kids. So that's a very touchy big place there. But I mean, now I see a lot of women who they go natural. They say go natural, which is funny to me, because how do you go natural? But it's just that's semantics. That's neither here nor there. So you go natural.
You said it, and now it triggered me.
Yeah, so you go natural. But then this is what happens. So you go natural, maybe you go locks, maybe you have like you wear natural hair, whatever. But then whenever there's a special occasion, an occasion that is deemed special, you cover your hair in a weave. So what happens is you're going to a cocktail in the evening. For some reason your natural hair isn't good enough for that.
Yep.
And I keep saying, like, do you understand the message that we're sending? Like I don't know. Like,
I've been happy that I escaped that whole weave wig debacle, because since I as a child I've majority of my life had natural hair. My hair has been literal natural from the age from a born to when I went to college.
Oh, yeah, for real, me too.
Yeah, you lie.
Yeah.
Damn, I would never guessed. And then when I went to college, and you're right, because I did the same thing when I was going to graduate from college. I straightened me here
because of graduation. Like, it's a thing. It's a thing.
Then, like, later I regretted it. Like, one day I was like, why did I even do this to me here? And I just cut off all. And then it go back, because it grows, it's here. And then I just decided, you know what, I always wanted locks, and now I have locks. But I see what you mean with people who constantly think that you have to cover your natural hair, cover your hair, because
it's not good enough.
It's a special occasion.
Yeah, it's not good enough for some occasion.
Yeah, we have to get away from that.
Yeah, but hey guys, we have a call on the line. Caller, good morning. You're live at LNT. What's up?
Hi, good morning. Again, another interesting topic. I went through the same thing going to high school. And, at that point in time, I even questioning, is it here giving me strength to learn, or it diminishes my ability to learn and that kind of thing? But you asked a pointed question there earlier. And you asked, what do we want? And the answer, I really don't know, but how do you say that, who sets the standards? What is acceptable? What is not? What is quorum, decorum, or whatever? The point is, I could recall somewhat of an uproar in certain circles when the Honorable Sean Richards appeared in our assembly with quote-unquote punk rock style haircut.
Oh, the mohawk.
The mohawk, yeah. And I don't know if it was considered natural. It was maybe a sign of times where he wanted to, let's say, I don't want to use the word belong, but associate with that style with other people who wear it. But then what do you say to students who come in with a hairstyle that, let's say, is the same punk rock, and those people in the States, they have these high sticking out thing, whatever they put in it, it causes it to stick out like spikes and so on. So my question really is, to echo your question, what do you really want? What is acceptable? What is not? I don't have the thing. I know standards are standards, but who sets them? Who approves them? And where do we cross the line with, say, we rebel against the system by wearing locks, for instance, or these kind of new hairstyles? I don't know, but it's an interesting conversation, as usual. All right.
All right, caller, thanks.
Thanks.
Thank you.
I think that is interesting. That we're in a space now where if you were to talk to any human resource manager, for instance, any life planner, life coach, that kind of thing, and you would ask them about the importance in this economy of having innovative thinkers, having people who think outside the box, people who are expressive, people who take initiative, people who refuse to conform. They see that as a positive. Recognizing now that we're in a place where there are so many self-made millionaires, so many self-made people who are for the first time in their family's history, finally financially independent. and able to generate wealth that could then be passed on to the next generation. And the way they're doing this, a lot of the times, are in the fields of media and in the field of technology. Both fields where you stand out based on innovative thinking. And yet we have school systems that kill creativity and individualism.
From
Kill
early.
creativity. And you know what's crazy to me is that it's encouraged and then stripped away in a way that makes it seems punishable. So, children are taught to draw, go and play. You have dolls and, trucks, and go play. And you play and you sit there and you let your imagination run wild. And then at some point in the educational system, you hit a certain point where if you try to exercise that creativity, it seems foolish and, don't bring them things here. It's time to learn. Learning involves creativity. The reason why we have all of these amazing math formulas and amazing technology and all these things is because somebody was creative enough and given the creative freedom, not even given because some of it was taken, they took back their creative freedom to be able to give us the products that we have. So why are we forcing kids to become grey blobs instead of creative beings?
And if we are trying to prepare them for the economy as is and as the economy as we see it moving, then it would behoove us to encourage that sort of thinking because the economy as it stands now rewards that type of thinking. So if you want to tell me we're preparing children for the economy and the job market and all these things as is, then these are the things we need to be encouraging.
Mm-hmm. And it's not just
because to be honest, right now we're preparing lemmings.
And it's really not just the school; it's the whole of society. Like your household, the churches, the schools. Like what you can't want both. Like you can't want us to conform and then tell us to be individuals and be ourselves and all of these things because you're telling us ourselves aren't good enough. How we present isn't good enough. We need to change this and fix this and act a certain way when you're outside because this is how society expects you to act. Like what is
and somebody brought up a great point, and they said that it's unfair to say the educational system gives the negative image of persons, which is true because the person is also saying it starts at home, but the thing is the educational system adds to it and reinforces it. So yes, some of it starts at home, but we also have to remember that children spend the majority of their days in school.
But not only that, Kevin, but in cases we've had several instances right here in St Kitts where parents have a different view to what's being perpetuated in school. And you're told that, well, just take your child out of school.
Imagine. Imagine telling me my child can't learn.
If you want your child to have the hair that is on their head growing the way that
the solution is take them out of school.
Remove your child from education. We will no longer grant them access to education because they have more than 4 inches of hair on their head.
And that's the thing about it. I have yet to see any school rule that clearly defines what these things are, That's the funny thing. I kept asking. When I in school, I kept asking. I said, well, okay, there is a student from the hills of Caucasoid up in my class, right? Oh. And his hair longer than mine. If you were to measure his hair is longer than mine. But I'm being sent all the time to go cut me hair to the point they're telling me come back with a receipt to show that I went to the barber. Them kind of like.
I just want to know, what does having hair prevent you from when you're into school? When you're in school, like what
it does nothing.
No,
it is another tool of
oppression.
What it was.
What is the actual reason?
The reason is that it's because when you go into a certain institution, there are rules. So it's not about just learning material information. So it's about learning to conform to rules.
But this is another colonial rule that has been passed down, and nobody takes the time out to question it to understand why it still exists. Originally, it was meant to oppress people even further, because when black persons finally got themselves into educational systems, they had to find yet another way to inhibit their learning process.
Yeah, but Kevin,
so that's where the here problem come in.
Yeah, Kevin, we have a caller. Caller, good morning. You're live on LNT. Caller, good morning. I think we lost that caller. Caller, feel free to call back.
Yeah, so I was saying that, this is where this whole hair thing came from. When Black persons were finally allowed education, to access to education, persons had to find another way to hinder their learning, and that was to nitpick the hair that they had on their head. Because what can a Black person do with the hair that goes out their head?
You know what's interesting? You know what's interesting about this? So, for instance, I had teachers, and I taught alongside teachers who were great teachers. Great teachers, great people. So even outside of their professional capabilities, they were great people. Some of whom had locks. So imagine you're telling me as a child, or you're telling a parent that the school will say you can't come to school with locks unless it's like for religious purpose, right? However, and that the reason for these rules is to prepare you for the world of work. However, you have somebody you're paying with the same hairstyle. So when my teacher could find work, you tell me I can't find
you're telling a child that their potential role model is not accessible. It's not real, That person
like,
might say, my teacher with locks, who's a geography teacher, I want to be him. I want to be a geography teacher because he's who I see myself wanting to be. You're telling that child that's a false, that physical goal is false. It's not something you could get.
Imagine that. But we have another caller. Caller, good morning. You're live on LNT. Oh, let's try. Let's try this one. Caller, good morning. You're live on LNT.
All right. Good morning, gentlemen. Thank you very much for the education. I don't know if you could ever recall sitting in a classroom and seeing a teacher struggling to get control of that class because of some distraction of somebody hairstyle, somebody not dressing the same proper attire, uniform, the same as everyone else. And so you and I know that the attention span of a child is very narrow. Compared to some adults, the attention span is very small. And so the teachers do struggle sometimes to get the message across, even though they have done their work prep. And someone come in with some simple foolish thing that throw the whole thing off. So it's not so much that they want to put down your hairstyle. It's a matter of controlling the classroom, the environment of which they teach, and need to get that message across to the student. And so,
right.
to benefit. Hello.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but a quick question: do you believe that the reason that the hairstyle that you're suggesting, I don't know what type of hairstyle that would cause a teacher to not be able to teach the class, but let's say that there was one. Don't you believe that that's based on the fact that the school itself creates an expectation for what is acceptable and what's not acceptable, and so any divergence from what that is it's not that the hairstyle itself is distracting. It's only distracting given the environment that was created.
Agreed. Because
I agree, but at the same time, remember
if we allow students to bring, let's say for guys, if guys can now come to school with afros, and nobody had afros before, then there would no longer be this great attention paid to afros because it's normal. But if we as teachers and adults bring so much attention to the afros, the children are going to follow suit.
That's the point I'm making.
The children feed off of the energy that the teachers do.
It's only distracting because
rile up a situation.
It's only distracting because the teachers deem it as a distraction. There's nothing.
I agree with you because I remember I had an afro too. I had an afro when I was going to school, but at the same time, to me, the afro was not a big thing.
Exactly.
But it wasn't something that was looked upon, that was denied of me. But I had an afro. And so to me, I think when they say uniform, where everybody should have the hair cut, then everybody just fall in line and cut the hair. But the hair will grow back, so you don't lose that because you know you have it. It's yours. But there are times when it comes that you're going to have to present yourself at a certain way. If you join the police force, if you join the military, you have to fall in line with certain things. It shouldn't take away from you because you know you have the option of going back where you came from and where you belong, and your beauty is yours. So to me, you could make something an issue, you could just ignore it and move on. And let it become a distraction to the message of which you're sending.
You see, well, Carla, well, I do understand what you're saying, but I think the biggest takeaway here is that students aren't taught that there's an alternative. Students are taught that that is the way to do it and the only way that is acceptable. They are not taught that it's not appropriate here, but it can be appropriate elsewhere. And that's the biggest issue, that students are taught that the way their hair grows is wrong. And that's just honestly how it is.
I agree with you, but take today's world. If there's a job that have an opening and you walk in with a big afro and somebody walking with a haircut, and to them they present themselves before you, because number one is presentation becomes number one until you get down to the real nitty-gritty, because the person who might have the long hair might be able to do a better job than the person who has the hair groomed and cut and so on. So you already assess the person by the moment you see them until you look deeper into them, further into their system, because that is our natural world. But you have that option where you can go anywhere you want to. But will it work for you? Will it work against you? Take your pick.
All right, Carla, thanks a lot for your contribution.
Have a good day, gentlemen. Thank you very much.
That is ridiculous. That
Yeah,
point is ridiculous.
you know,
Are you telling people because they have long hair that their hair can't be groomed? I don't understand this.
Yeah,
this logic
I
right
think
here. Like, this really pissed me off, because you're
doesn't
not
make
making
sense,
sense to
you
me.
know?
You're really not.
It really
making
doesn't
sense
make
to me.
sense. And let me read something that somebody says here. Somebody's saying that their children go to convent school, ICCS, and they've seen from their first son being there, the teachers telling the son that he needs to cut his hair, yet there are white students in there with hair that's much longer.
That's what I keep
So
telling you.
it is not about the length of hair. It is not about
the type of hair. And what's deemed
it's
acceptable.
about it's about the type of hair and who it's on. Because let's also make this an example. So let's say a white student has long hair, and let's say the hair is to her mid back. If a black student comes in with braids in the same style to her back, she's sent home.
They literally tell female students they can't wear braids, they can't wear protective hairstyles.
You're telling a student that they cannot wear something that assists them in being groomed. And that alone should tell you it is not about the grooming, it is not about the length, it is about the person it's on.
In the words of Paul Mooney,
it's only an issue when it's only an issue depending on who it's on. That's the problem.
In the words of Paul Mooney, when your hair is relaxed, they're relaxed.
and it seems so. I remember I went somewhere once during the day, and a girl came there for her birthday, and you could tell it's a birthday because it was a young girl, and she's probably like maybe 13 or so, and you could tell it's a birthday because she's all glammed up and she had her hair in the bubbles, and I don't know what you call them, but like twists, like those nice twists, and she had thick hair, so she had a bunch of thick twists everywhere, and an adult watched her and said, "Oh, happy birthday." She said, "Yeah, you could have straightened your hair for your birthday," and I'm just like,
listen, people used to encourage me all my life to straighten my hair. Like, they couldn't believe that I had natural hair.
Where's the part of you that says you look great? Why are you not telling the child you look great? Where's that portion? Happy birthday, I love your hair, you look great. Instead, you're going to tell the child that the lovely hairstyle you have could be better if you straighten it.
But there's this one lady, I go to this particular store here regularly, right? And there's this one lady that works at the cash register, and every time I go, she gives me these half-handed comments about, "Oh, you're such a handsome, but I don't want you for my daughter if you cut them locks there. Oh, you're such a handsome guy, but why you just wear your hair like that?" I'm like, every single time.
Listen,
the thing is with that, you're better off just not giving the compliment.
That's what I'm telling you.
Give a backhanded comment. Don't make
I just here for some nails.
Nobody asks. And you know what's funny? This starts from small, because I've had people, I won't say who because of reasons, every time they see my son, they say, "Why you don't cut your hair? Why you don't cut your hair? Why you don't cut his hair?" And I'm not cutting his hair because you want me to cut his hair because you feel like he is untidy or whatever. It's his hair. His hair is long. His mommy's hair is long. So we both have hair. You'll just have to deal with it. The only way
I
I'll
just hate
cut
when
his
people
hair
make
is if
backhanded
it's
comments on
uncomfortable
children.
for him. If it's uncomfortable for him to have his hair combed, or he doesn't like it, or it's a hassle for him, some kids like that's the only way. But don't keep asking me to cut my son's
Right.
hair because you think he shouldn't have hair because you prefer
Or
to
at
see
least
flat.
or give him the choice when he's old enough and says, I don't want to do this hair thing no more, and he cuts it off, or he keeps it. It's his choice when he gets to that age.
It's people's choices.
I just
And
and I
another thing
hate
that
when I
pisses me
hear
off?
adults making backhanded comments at children, like, "Oh, your son could be so cute if he cut his hair." So you're implying that he's ugly at the moment. Like, what is the comment? What is the compliment here?
Nobody asks. And you know what's funny? Since we're talking about things that nobody asks, stop walking up to women or men and commenting on their weight. You do not know what's going on in that person's life. You don't know what they're dealing with. Stop it. You don't know what happened to that person today. And you're going to come with your remarks that nobody asks, unsolicited. And talk about, oh, you're gaining weight, or oh, you're putting back on weight, or oh, you could lose some weight. Like, who asked you?
Yeah, it's funny to me, right? How like commenting on someone's weight has become like an acceptable like greeting. It's like,
I
hey,
like that too, but it's also
weird.
like
It's just weird to
commenting
me, yo. It's
and
weird
it's
to me.
also like commenting on somebody's weight is like supposed to be a compliment. I will never forget when I gained the weight during the lockdown. Right after I saw somebody and they said, "Oh, Kevin, you put on some weight, eh?" So I wasn't offended, but I was just like, so my response to them was, "Oh, you too," and they watched me with such a face.
So it's
And they were like,
okay.
they watch me as if like, how dare you? So I said, oh, the issue is you get to comment on my weight, but nobody can say anything about you. I said, next time, please just don't make any comment at all.
Bro, let me tell you something, right? The way I've learned.
Come on, spicy, yo. Come on.
Listen, I
No,
wish I
I
would
mean-
like Kevin sometimes, because the amount of times, right, especially women, have walked up to me. These women are bigger than me, and have commented on my weight and how I am gaining weight and all these things. And I'm like, ma'am, are you trying to look in a mirror?
Yeah, just
Because
don't-
you're looking
just
at the
don't
wrong
comment on
reflection here.
people.
Focus on yourself.
Like, if you think that somebody is, if you are comfortable enough or close enough with somebody and you think they're gaining weight in a way that is unhealthy for them, the way is to tell them without insulting them. And I think if you are not comfortable doing that and you want to make, if you want to make that person more aware, have a conversation with a friend and with a friend of theirs and see if they could have the it's not a compliment. I don't think people understand that. It's not a compliment, it's not a greeting. Telling me you look skinny or you look fat. And then the thing is too, the sad part is sometimes they always want to tag along a reason for weight gain. Oh, you look slim, eh? Your boyfriend done you? Like, why do people have to lose weight
listen, you
because of
cannot
like a
please
traumatic
people, Kevin.
experience?
You cannot.
And
please
why do people have to gain weight if there's like, oh my gosh, it's just
literally,
so
right?
frustrating.
Remember that I lost weight, right? I lost weight. People used to tell me
You sick? You get bite?
not only that. First it was, oh, you're getting too big and you need to lose some weight and all these things. I lost weight. Oh, you're getting too small. Don't lose no more. Like what?
You can't please them.
We all want. We all want.
You can't win. Honestly, you just can't win.
Go out of my face. Do not walk up to me and comment
You
on
can't
my
win.
weight. Do not walk up to anybody and comment on their weight. Because one of these days, somebody going to be like, Kevin, and tell you about yourself, and now you're going to feel insecure. Leave people alone.
And then you know
please.
what? The sad part is me and Kia, because nobody tell you
Exactly.
to interfere with me in the first place.
Oh boy. But there's mixed messages, boy. Mixed messages.
I tell you, can't please people.
That they kind of remind me of what my initial grind was. But Kevin gear take up the whole time. But it was something that needed to be ground well. So I appreciate that. But in terms of mixed signals, right? I mentioned yesterday I started talking about the entertainment industry and kind of where we at now. And there's something that's been happening that is very confusing because we're getting some mixed signals. So prior to the threat of community spread and the closure of cancellation of all the Events.
Do I need to wear a mask for this segment?
No, just turn your screen to that scene.
Oh, one moment. Okay,
So, no,
sure.
so prior to that, we were having events, things were happening. I dare say that there were some people who took advantage of the fact that people, especially after the year that we've had, would want things to do, would want to go places, would want to be involved in, in some type of stress relief.
Yes.
Now, prior to that, there was an announcement made that they were going to be cracking down on promoters who did not or were not up to date with their with inland revenue and their taxes. Now, I thought the timing, and we spoke about it here, I thought the timing was ridiculous. But it is what it is. That's what was said. If you're not up to date with inland revenue and thing, then you're not getting your permit and blah 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 blah. I had a big problem with that. But at the time, there were several promoters who I know had the meetings with inland revenue, and inland revenue in most cases worked with them. Some of them got a payment plan where they could get up to date over time and stuff like that, to allow them when we started allowing events again to start playing the trade again. So tell me why. Oh, and before I even go down the road, this is why it is exactly happening. Bear in mind that yesterday I spoke about the fact that when we're having conversations in regards to relief for the entertainment industry, which is in a very unique position because of the nature of the events and the situation that we're in. You know, we're being asked, like I said yesterday, to at first to limit the amount of people, which would limit the amount of revenue and stuff like that. But now it's at a point where, you know, there's no promise being given for those types of events and thing, and we understand why that is and thing. But then when we're talking about, well, perhaps there needs to be some consideration for relief. You know, one of the issues is by people in registering, it's hard to tell what the real industry looks like, what the losses are, who should be eligible, because a lot of people in the entertainment industry have not been doing what they should have been doing, which was, you know, register the business, XYZ. Okay, fine. Yeah. So tell me why.
Sorry.
Tell me why it is now that people could go, make the application to host events, no consideration being given for whether or not they even have a license. If they're up to date with inland revenue, all the things that they say. So my question is now, again, this is mixed signals. What you want? You're gonna tell me, well, I want to stop a man from making a food and all them kind of things there. So my question is, well, why should anybody register then? And not just in entertainment, any business. Because this isn't something that is unique to entertainment, you know.
It is not.
There's people who are playing trades, no compliance in terms of joining the tax system, registering a business, paying the fees, any of these things. And then there's people who try to do what is termed the right thing, and they get punished for it.
You lose. You lose.
And the thing that upsets me even more is that when there are people who are allowed to enter these spaces and they do nonsense, everybody got to pay for the nonsense that they do.
Yep.
So we're at a point where we saw limitations being put on promoters based on the actions of people who try in parties who ain't a promoter.
Yep.
And I now got this, and not only that, you know, I'm here now waiting for the quarter to come, and if I don't upload My taxes, well, you got to pay your late fee, your interest, all these things here. While the people who don't mess up the whole thing, running scot-free. So the question I got to ask now is, well, why? Why should anybody register? It's just a cost on you.
Fair question.
Imagine you registered. You're trying to feed your family. You're trying to do whatever. You're trying to do all these things. And then now you're the one who registered. So they're looking for, okay, he up to date with Social Security. He up to date with Inland Revenue. And you do. And this is how you're trying to get to the point where you could actually pay in the money to Inland Revenue and Social Security. Yeah. But then you got people who ain't registered at all, and it's like, more power to you, man. Gonna make some money.
Yeah, man, gonna make some money. Once the powers that be approve you, because.
But that's what I'm saying. Them is what proven.
That's the problem.
The same people who come and tell us where we get registered, don't come tell me the shipping is about, oh, a man want to make a food. Like, that is the whole problem. You have people entering into certain industries, entertainment or otherwise, as a way to try and just make a quick dollar. And the effects that they have in the industry a lot of time are detrimental, because they have no long-term dependence on the success of the industry.
They don't put you in this work. They just wake up and, you know what? I'm going to a bash.
Bye.
I don't have no kind of experience. I don't care about the money, all these things. I can just come in to a cheap little bash. Let me get some permission from the people I'm supposed to get permission with. I don't need to give them the document, because me really doing this for real. I just trying a thing. They're gonna give you permission. You try a thing, event turn into something that causes us to now have to suffer. The people who actually paying taxes, the people who actually doing this as a job, who depend on this day to day, we now have to suffer because this let me try a thing person who ain't care about the industry did something and nothing.
How much people selling food and ain't got a food handlers permit?
I can't walk on 4th Street, so I don't know. I have to walk in the road when I'm walking up 4th Street.
If I'm not a registered food vendor, does the health department come and check my cart?
Why?
No, you ain't registered.
Why would they do that?
And the things that these people do can have serious negative implications on the industry. So you there now trying to do what you're supposed to do, trying to be compliant, and these things are allowed to just happen. So my question again is, why should anybody comply?
Yep.
If not only these things are allowed to happen, but really and truly it's encouraged. And then turn on and tell me that by how we can decide who to get relief because nobody registered. But are you creating an environment where it only makes business sense to not register?
Honestly. And the thing is, the big thing is, people are not registering is because when you have to look at the bigger picture, there's no need to get registered because people are not getting, there's no consequence to not being not registered.
No, it's a liability. It's a liability. It's just more money coming in your pocket and more hindrance and more paperwork.
You're taking away
more time, everything. You're not gaining anything
this month.
Yeah, but we have a call. Carlo, good morning. You're live on LNT.
Good morning.
Morning.
I know it's generally the nature of things for youth to be rebellious. But just remember that the system, and system with a capital S, in education, parental, societal rules, etc., with all its supposed flaws and contradictions, it still generated the Zuckerbergs and the Einsteins and the Jobs, And so I tend to fall on the side of no other caller about the distractions, right? That's why we have, for instance, uniforms.
But
schools.
Funny you use them two examples, Abai. One high school dropout and one member you was here still in the world.
Imagine that. Thank you for proving my point now.
Most people regard them, as being either geniuses or they produce a lot of good, put it that way.
Yeah, man, but they buck the system.
Even if they produce bad
they buck the system, though. They were definitely people who went against the same system. So I don't know.
Even though they benefited from it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's about. I don't think it's about going against the system. I think it's about contributing in a way to help the system evolve. Anything that doesn't evolve dies. And so if we don't want the system to die, we have to continually push it to evolve and grow.
True, but at the same time, just like water finds its own level, there has to be some kind of standards. If you buck the system too much, there's a backlash, okay? And if anything goes, well, everything goes. I mean, do we really want, one student expressing individuality is fine.
It's not actually.
We want 30 students to be doing it.
Yes.
That's going to lead to chaos and anarchy.
No.
Why would it lead to chaos and anarchy?
No, but
children expressing.
I think we're saying the same thing, sir. I think what you're speaking about is lack of rules, lack of standards, and what that could lead to. I don't think anybody here is saying that. What we're saying is that we should continually adapt what those standards and rules are, based especially on what society and the direction is going in. That's why I use the example of the things that are now seeing success. You spoke about Zuckerberg. He because of his innovative thinking and technological know-how. So he took the things that he learned in some traditional schooling and that kind of thing, and added his own innovation to it, and produced something that is now making him and his family, wealthy. So I don't think it's about. Nobody's advocating for doing away with what is there. What we are saying is that there's ways that it must improve in order for society itself to continue to evolve in a way that we, as society, wanted to see it evolving in. If we want people with high self-worth, people who look at themselves with pride, then we need to understand that there are some things that are remnants of things like colonialism that need to go.
Yeah, but don't you think that the best and the brightest always bubble to the top? It's hard to.
No, have you been to the subway? No. Have you been to a subway?
No.
There's some of the best musicians playing in the subway.
The best, and it all boils down to opportunities and the moment and everything. Because not because you are the richest means that you are the best. Not because you are currently the brightest man on the earth means that you actually are. Because it could just mean that the person that's much smarter than you does not have access to resources to prove themselves. It's such a situation, and I think that we need to really focus on the fact that people need opportunities, and if the opportunity playing field is not equal, then you like, for example, you can't, if you have let's say the US and Jamaica are a good example. Jamaica has some serious athletes. People are flipping on grass and doing tumbling techniques out of this world. But the US has the facilities to train children from young to become Olympic athletes, But the thing is, the Jamaicans don't have the same opportunities as them, so you can't say that America has the best Olympians. Yes, they excel because they have the tools to do so. But you can't say that the others, that they don't exist elsewhere, because those that do exist elsewhere don't have the opportunities and the tools to excel and to train.
But that's life generally, right? The point is, I mean, we have to be careful how we define success. As you pointed out, it's not about the richest and the brightest and that sort of thing, right? But at the same time, we have to be careful that in trying to uplift everybody else, we don't lower standards. I think that was what was behind, for instance, the whole argument about streaming in classes and that sort of thing, right? So there has to be some balance, and I agree that these standards should evolve, okay? And bear in mind, though, that things can evolve for the worse, not always the better, okay? Yeah. And so these are things that people have to look at, and as to who sets the standards, that's a whole new argument. But while let me just say from yesterday's argument, because that ties into the whole idea of discipline and uniformity. I share, I think it was Azim's outrage in respect of the interaction of the army with ordinary citizens, and the blurring of the role of the army with that of the police, right? Police are trained in law enforcement, and generally their tools reflect that. Armies, on the other hand, are trained to kill, to maximize force, and their weapons reflect that. You know, you don't use a shovel to do a job that requires a bulldozer, right? And armies are there for the defense of the country usually against external threats. Of course, they come in handy in times of emergencies like hurricanes and so on. But have you ever really stopped to think that an army is one of the few entities that justifies its existence by the fact that other armies exist? You know?
Yeah, I tell you to talk about that.
You know, and as you I think it was you pointed out too, there is really a power dynamic, right? And those vested with power and authority must also be responsible and accountable. Okay, there was a time, for instance, at the height of the crime crisis, when there was the perception that the army was more effective than the police, and I think the size of the guns contributed to that perception. You know, and you know, it was, I guess, part of psychological tactics against the criminals, okay, because it suggested overwhelming force. All right, I mean, you have M16s coming up against pistols, and the public, and that is where I think the problem came. The public was generally comfortable with that, you know, and once you get a level of comfort with that show of force, it becomes, well, what you're making noise about. That's what they're there for, you know. But I don't think that's what an army or people with M16 rifles parading through the society is there for. Okay, the army is supposed to stay in the background until there is a threat, an external threat. Okay, so I agreed with your outrage yesterday, that you expressed yesterday.
All right, man. Thank you. But guys, we're gonna take a break. I think we need a break.
I think so too.
I think we need a break.
I think we went.
Do we know?
I mean, we really did grind some gears today.
All right, so we're gonna take a small commercial break.
Well, before we take a break,
just
we also need to remember that, you know, we need to really cut out this mentality that because it works for you means it's right and that it's working, because there are persons who are on the receiving end and they don't agree. You know, rich persons are not going to complain that the system is not working because they're rich because of it. Poor persons will, because they're poor because of it. So, you know, we really need to put things into perspective before we just say that, you know, because it works, leave it. It works for you, but not everybody.
Right.
Break time.
Your Horsford's Value Mart IGA Value Club Blue Tag Specials from June 3rd through 16th. Essential Everyday Mayonnaise, $9.99. IGA Squeeze Ketchup, $3.99. IGA or Essential Everyday Cream Cheese, $5.49. IGA Single Roll Paper Towel, $4.99. Captain Crunch Cereals, $8.99. Red Baron Pizza, $23.99 each. And now our very low weekly value deals. Langer's juices are just $6.99. Dial soap 3-pack, $8.99 each. Ensure and Boost nutritional drinks, $7.49. IGA instant oatmeal, $6.99. Mueller's pastas, $4.99. Betty Crocker cake mix, just $5.99 each. Shop smart, shop Value Mart. Sea listo y haga sus compras aquí a Value Mart.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib. It's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Welcome back to Island Tea with your faves, Evan and Adam, featuring J. Gwen Johnson. And since everyone's wearing a mask, then I do it too.
I like it. You see how all of us are masked out?
The conformity.
Y'all just frequently leave me out the loop.
Listen,
last week y'all show up in y'all olive green and you ain't tell me.
Sorry.
So.
You're right.
Somebody said last week that we need uniforms.
Oh yeah,
I don't like
true.
to understand the show, you know.
Yeah,
thanks for your suggestion. We will we humbly ignore it.
Thanks for your suggestion, but I'm not wearing a uniform. I'm very happy not wearing uniforms. I've come to the point in my life where I actually don't like wearing clothes that are not sweats. So, no thanks.
Sir, you know what? Okay, thanks. I'm not. I saw it and I ignored it, but it just, because we look so uniform with our black mask, I remember
it. Yeah. Well, I guess we compromise. There's balance.
Yeah.
There's balance. We might not do the full uniform thing, but at least we can all wear black masks. Yay. It's a win-win for everybody.
Win-win.
Win-win. WINNmedia SKN. That's where you could find us on the Facebook and YouTube. For those of you who may be listening on the radio, if you want to see the black mask that we are sporting, feel free to log on and check it out on, again, both YouTube and Facebook, as well as Twitch and Periscope.
Yeah.
Come on.
Tea time?
Apparently things were going on in the world other than trying to stifle people's self-expression.
This mark's making me hot, so hold on.
Oh, nice. Cromwell said, put it on your eye.
I think it's funny. The nation can't take nothing seriously now, because when Cromwell said that,
man, make one little mistake.
The woman records herself in the supermarket with the mask over she had.
Everything you have to kind of joke.
Man make one little mistake. The man
can't even slip up on a briefing.
The man come in here every day letting us know what's going on in the nation. The man make one little mistake, but kill him. Hey.
Lord have mercy with you all.
Oh boy. You're superintendent, right?
Hope so.
Pick up yourself, come and help me one time.
We know you're listening.
And don't study them. Don't study them, okay? I love the mothers who are just like...
No matter what happens, don't study them.
The worst advice ever.
Don't study them.
Like,
come on.
Your child just stabbed 4 people in the parking lot.
Don't study them. They just hate you because you're different.
Oh boy, what kind of what's been happening?
A lot.
Oh boy.
So let's bring it in locally first. On tea time.
Oh, nice. I like it. Take a sip.
Yeah. The crisp taste of that beastly cold beer.
Why is a beer classified as beastly? I'm still trying to figure it out, but I digress.
Wait, what happened?
Nothing. Go to the store. Nothing.
No, I want to hear it.
I just was wondering. I've been wondering for quite some time now. As a matter of fact, over a year. Why is the beer classified as being beastly, and why would that be something that somehow makes me want to drink it? But hey, I don't know.
It's the fresh taste.
No, I don't drink.
On a scorching hot day.
A scorching hot day.
Or maybe it's the way the bright. Let me stop you here. But one thing's for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean.
The fact that you learn all the whole Caribbean, impressive. Carib should just let Kevin read the ad actually.
Watch you. We listed this ad 4 times a day for like a year and a half.
I know every single word.
It's surprising that you don't know it. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, you don't do it.
Oh.
We could play the Subdivision one next. Anyway, so let's talk some tea. So, the local that entered St Kitts and Nevis, the Federation of St Kitts and Nevis, illegally has been charged with 6 offenses. David Smith of Buckley's Village, the man who illegally entered the Federation on May 11th at Limekeel Bay, has been charged by both the Royal Christopher and Nevis Police Force and St Kitts and Nevis Customs and St Kitts and Nevis Customs and Excise Department. The 27-year-old was arrested following his release from quarantine after testing negative for COVID-19. Smith was charged on May 28th for the offense of entering a port that is not recognized as an appropriate port of entry, and on May 31st for the offense of entering the Federation without permission of the Ministry of National Security. On May 30th, he was charged by the Customs and Excise Department for the offenses of failing to file a declaration with a proper officer arriving in the Federation in a vessel at a place other than notified place by a customs officer, failure to report directly to customs or a police officer upon arrival into the Federation, and failure to produce a certificate of clearance. He has been remanded to Her Majesty's prison. Ooh.
I think they should just have this guy give like sea navigation classes and college age.
Honestly, I think if to come from Antigua to St. Kitts on a fishing boat with possibly no nautical tools, that is impressive.
Watch it, right? It's only one or two things. Like we need to tap into this resource and have him give classes, or probably just kidnap him and have him end up in Dominica. I mean, that's what's going on when people leave Antigua now. So.
I agree with the first. I think we should go with the first one.
But this is such
we don't want to ship our resources to Dominica.
The thing about it for me is I am still so curious as to what it is this man was running from.
That's a good question.
That's I don't care about the charges. Why he was running from.
That's a good question.
That's
I have to believe that I'm sure he knew these were the possibilities when he would have, upon entering St. Kitts illegally. So for me, if this was a better option, then what were you running from?
That's all I need to know.
The man was like, listen, I prefer to get caught and go to jail in St. Kitts than to face whatever I was facing in Antigua.
Yeah. But you're talking about, you understand that what you're talking about is him assuming that he even gonna reach? Like the man being stranded at sea before, to me, reaching the St. Kitts and jail and so is the secondary thought for me. If I'm stealing a boat, jumping in it and then making my way to St. Kitts in the dead of night.
Dead of night on a fishing boat.
I ain't really studying about.
Not from Nevis, from Antigua.
I don't think people understand how difficult sailing is, because you could look even to Sabre. You could hold the steering wheel in one place for the entire thing, and you will miss Sabre if you drive in a straight line, because the sea will push you, the winds will push you, the currents will pull you in other places. It is difficult to just drive by sight. I have been on a boat.
I have been on a boat heading to Statia.
Not me.
And somewhere around the 2 hour mark, when I know we should have done reach, the captain stand up and was like, right there.
No.
When you hear the captain of the sea vessel say, wait there,
as in I would automatically pass out.
I was like, okay, that's it.
Automatically from
that's it.
Him?
My mother tell me don't go out here. Like it's all.
One person who don't like deep water is me, and the captain going to stand up and say, wait there.
Bye. That was something else, bad. And the man was looking left, looking right. Looking left, looking right. Me seeing no land. I was like, but if we Jed, here what happened, right? You do realize you could see Statia when you're in St. Kitts, right? So how is it that we are the sea for 2 hours and then can't see no land?
Time me back home. Trip over. Find me. Put me back home.
This is how people get lost at sea.
This was a demo.
If you don't know how to navigate, the sea will lose you.
Some of the things.
Oh my God.
Hey, the best thing about it, right? The best thing about it. I gotta pick up Mr. World one time. Any situation you could be in, if you got a Mr. World with you, you'll be alright. Hey, Mr. World. Some of the things I've been through is Smallocks bad boy. Wow.
Mr. World will probably hear you because he doesn't listen all the time.
But Mr. World is the boss.
So,
I ain't even gonna call the captain here, man. That was something.
Listen, I'm not sailing to station.
Oh boy. Hey, but good luck with him and those charges. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, we're going to send a little, pray up for you.
I'm just asking the government's lawyers to please ask him what he was running from. Please. The public needs to know.
This is yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I agree, the public needs to know.
Public needs to know.
The public is us. We need to know. Oh boy, Kevin, anything else happened before we have to go to our nice little interview next?
Maybe.
Well, Kevin, look, speaking of needing to know, I had a question about the cameras. Like, is it that the cameras are recorded all the time? And if so, can I go and get the footage for myself?
What cameras?
Whoever might have the answer. The cameras are all around town and them they're putting in Kayan and all over the place.
So how come I get removed?
How come what?
Oh. You just remove me from me.
Sorry, friend. That's
really?
an accident. That's an accident. Don't say that.
But no.
Crass and crude.
I'm sorry.
But yeah, the cameras like I think it was like 2018 they passed that I don't remember the exact name of the bill, but it's like the freedom of information where
they're free to take our information?
No, the public could ask the government for information. They have to give it basically. So I'm wondering, like, can I go if I let's say I suspect my significant other of going into like a man's house at a certain time? Can I just go and tell the police? Can I see the cameras for this point and this point?
But I don't think that's how it is.
Why wouldn't it work that way? That's what I'm saying. Why wouldn't it work that way?
I don't.
And not only that, you think if I am say a member of parliament, you think I can get that footage?
I wish y'all could see my reactions out of this mess, but
yeah, but hey, put more cameras. Hey.
Ask them. Ask a question, friend.
Yeah, I want to know. Like seriously, want to know. Like, can me as a member of the public,
taxpayer,
request the information that is gathered by the authorities? It's not part of any ongoing investigation except my own. Is it accessible?
I don't know.
And if not, why not? Because I ain't like even asking anybody to videotape them. The cameras them just went up and started to record.
Why you been
under the guise of law enforcement?
Kevin, as in powers came in yesterday, right?
Even though there's been countless studies done. Some as far back as 8 years ago when I was looking into this.
Let me go on vacation here.
So how long you looking into this?
Yeah.
Oh, 8 years.
We are there's been no real proof that it really affects crime.
You mean they don't
actually, it doesn't actually stop crime.
It doesn't?
No.
You sure?
I mean,
I feel like you're sure.
No, because if okay, think about it this way. If cameras were really such a deterrent to crime, then we wouldn't have any crime now because everybody walks around with cameras in their pockets. So putting them on a post
that you could see.
But hey, why not? Why not? Why not?
We're not the brightest bulbs in the box.
Why not? What do I know?
If you could see them.
If cameras are such a deterrent, then we should have no crime because everybody has cameras.
We need some stats on this. What do we ask? You think we could have you think we could find a document where they tell us the stats for how many crimes have actually been solved with the cameras?
Maybe.
Who we ask for this?
This is St Kitts, we don't keep records.
No, we don't keep electronic records. They just have to go into a big book. Scroll to the book. And they're going to find it.
Oh boy, I love it.
Who can remember which page it's on?
But I want to know if I have
Somebody.
access. If I, as a citizen of this country, taxpayer, like, do I have access to that because of the bill that was passed in 2018? The government's supposed to be able. I'm supposed to be able to go to the government and get information, pretty much. Matter of fact, what are you doing? Come on, go ahead.
You gonna look it up?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go to our next story where Azim find this information for us.
Don't mix me. So let's talk about Guyana. Good. So, you found it?
Quickly.
Oh, so Guyanese government has been sued by citizens that are seeking to stop oil exploration. A lawsuit has been filed against the Guyanese government seeking to stop oil and gas exploration in the country's offshore blocks. The lawsuit was filed by the Quadra de Freitas,
Good.
a 21-year-old indigenous tour guide, and Dr. Troy Thomas, a university lecturer, who claimed that the government's approval of exploration of licenses goes against its constitutional duties to provide a health and safety environment for its citizens. This is the first case of its kind in the English-speaking Caribbean. The lawsuit comes weeks after a Dutch court ruled that Royal Dutch Shell must reduce its carbon emissions by 45% by 2030 from its current 2019 levels. Oh boy. So, yeah, more oil drama in the Caribbean,
Shocked.
which is not surprising at all. Yes, my friend is telling me I'm in a room by myself. I have on the mask because I like to be in things. Everybody else got on masks and I'm be by myself.
Oh dear. As you said, you found the story?
And I had to train her, so she right, but you know, let me go outside, let me get some fresh air. Hold on.
Stunned. The trees do you and all.
This grass, I don't understand why
I
they
mean
put me
grass
in
only.
grass, like I'm an ant. But
Azim,
Hey,
what's going on?
with what?
I'm waiting on you. Tell me you find it.
Me tell you find it.
Oh, come on, next. I thought you found it. I wasn't happy.
Next. Okay, so next on the list is first let me find the island this from so I could put. Yeah, I can't find out which country this is.
Which one?
Oh, in Belize. This is Belize. So Hartin confesses to killing cop when faced with cocaine charges. Jasmine Hartin has confessed to accidentally shooting which resulted in the death of San Pedro Superintendent Henry Gemot. The 32-year-old socialite initially claimed that Gemot was shot dead by an unknown assailant passing by on a boat. She has since changed her plea, admitting guilt in what she said was the accidental death of the top cop. According to reports, Hartin, who was denied bail on Monday, only changed her story when investigating officers told her that she would also be charged with cocaine possession. Police Commissioner Chester Williams told local reporters that it was this juncture that she provided a statement under caution. Hartin said she accidentally shot Gemot while giving him a massage on the pier last Friday.
Sorry?
Relatives of this
What?
this is just so much. Relatives of the slain officer have questioned the validity of the suspect's claims, likening the incident to a planned assassination. Hartin has been charged with manslaughter by negligence, which, according to law enforcement officials, hardly ever results in a prison sentence. Investigations are still ongoing. So, in your latest season of Caribbean shenanigans,
because I was listening, right, and I'm like, why would you want to why would a possession charge frighten you into? Well, maybe not frighten you into, but why would you pick manslaughter over possession? But now I understand because the likelihood of you getting convicted apparently with this is very low.
Yeah, precisely. Like that happens all the time.
Okay, I get it.
It's not the severity of the of the sentence that's possible, but can you prove it?
So she shot him while giving him a massage, you said?
Yeah.
Because I am confused.
On the pier.
But was she using the gun to massage him?
Okay.
Is this a new thing?
Gunman in she home.
But it would have been the opposite. It would have been the
Yeah, so
opposite.
maybe some gun woman in his.
Boy.
I'm confused. I'm confused.
we treading.
We
Treading.
as him.
I feel it last soon.
Kevin don't come here every day and just like kick up things. I don't understand what going on with that.
Kevin no reply. Act like
You know what it is? It's because he drinking a beastly cold beer every morning, you know.
On a scorching hot day.
You know what? The moral of the story: don't get gun massages apparently, because I really don't understand. What was the gun?
Can you turn on my mic while we do that commercial so I could say it at the same time?
No.
No,
Why was?
Okay.
Why?
I had
Okay.
to ask.
I'm done.
Huh?
I'm done.
You find it? I done. I confused. So I done.
No, so I was just saying like the bill I was talking about, and of course, people again. I'm not a legal mind, and of course, this is all in jokes and giggles. So don't go down by government. Don't go down by government quarters and tell them you want to see this and want to see that.
Don't work so.
Because at the same time, there's a Data Protection Act, so I'm sure there's more to this than thing. But on the surface, it's very interesting because the Freedom of Information Act makes provisions for the disclosure of information held by public bodies or by persons providing services for them for connected purposes in St Kitts and Nevis. Some of the highlights of the bill is every person shall have the right to freedom of information, including the right to access information held by public bodies, subject to the provisions of this act. A person making a request for information to a public body shall be entitled A. to be informed whether or not the public body holds a record containing that information or from which that information may be derived, and B. if the public body does hold such a record, to have that information communicated to him or her. So I want to know if such and such went by such and such house and if I got a video about it.
Basically.
And you gotta tell me if you got it. And if you got it, please for it. Because when I tell her she don't go down by the man, she'll tell me a lie. And I want proof.
Now we should hit you with the Data Protection Act. What we're gonna do?
No, but you see the thing is with that, I think it'll be funny because the video isn't necessarily recording her. So it's not a video of her, it just happened that she walked into the video.
My point still stands. When they hit you with the, like, you know, when you're playing Pokemon and you throw out your Pokemon and I throw out mine, data protection. Okay.
Charizard.
So if you think you're gonna smack that woman, you lie.
Oh boy.
It is time to hear from another one of our sponsors. Kevin, do you want to say this one as well?
Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Thank you.
You forget it.
I was gonna do it, but I feel like I was gonna spit.
Guys,
who's this one, Jade?
We're gonna be right back here.
Who's this one? Tell me who it is so I could give a context.
But I'm just gonna I'll go there.
For you and me.
Oh boy.
energize your goals with Lucozade. Get it cool. Look under the cap, find the code, win it. Thousands in prizes, iPhones and TVs. Or win 30 grand US dollars for your goals. That's goals.
For a chance to win 30,000 US dollars. Purchase any Lucozade Energy promo bottle. Look under the cap and find the code to win iPhones, TVs, and free Lucozade for 30,000 US dollars to energize your goals. See website, social media, or press for details. Lucozade, taste the energy.
Good morning, my little superheroes. Tell me, if you could have any superpower, what would it be?
The power to read minds.
Super speed. Pew! The power to heal the sick.
Well, you can get smart, speed, and good health with the superhero trio from Halliborange. Halliborange has delicious omega-3 bursts, sugar-free multivitamin liquid, and flavored vitamin A, C, and D chewables to support a strong immune system, healthy bone development, and acute mental performance for superheroes like you. Part of the Halliborange family.
Welcome back to Island Tea with your faves, and it is time to jump into Eat Local, because Joseph is watching, with Miss Sharon Rattan. Welcome and good morning.
Well, actually, Kevin, we have some other guests here with us today, and we're going to let them introduce themselves really quickly. So good morning, guys.
June Hughes, from Director, Department of Environment.
Pleasant good morning, Eric Brown, Forestry Officer, Department of Environment.
Oh, lovely. So we have some guests here from the Department of Environment and also Agriculture. No, just Environment?
Department of Environment.
Okay, sweet. So I'm sure you guys have lots of great information for our listeners and our viewers here today. So what's happening at the Department of Environment?
Well, thanks again for having us here today. We are celebrating Environment Month in June. On the 5th of June, internationally, the world celebrates World Environment Day. This year, the theme is ecosystem restoration with a focus on resetting our relation with nature. Now, the Department of Environment has always felt slightly constrained by one day. So we've taken the whole month of June to lay out and celebrate World Environment Day. Well, world environment within the world. We have a number of activities planned for this month. We started on Sunday with a service, because you always have to start anything with the Lord. So we started with our service at the Antioch Baptist Church. The minister and the permanent secretary joined with the staff in opening and celebrating this month. We continue with radio appearances. This is our first one, and we will have a number of other appearances throughout the month. And then on Saturday, which is the big day, there will be a speech by the minister. Now, our activities have been constrained because of the outbreak. So we've had to curtail a few of the things that we had planned. But nonetheless, we will progress.
For sure.
So we have 2 staff exercises. The first one, which is going to be on the 11th, is a hike to Black River. Eric can speak a little bit more about 2 of those exercises a little later. And then on the 17th, the staff will be going over to Nevis to look at a few of our projects that are happening in Nevis. Then on the 26th, that's the big one, and we are praying that COVID would allow us to have this exercise. It's an extreme hike to the crater.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
I thought just by definition, hiking to the crater is extreme. So when you say extreme hike, now I wonder, like, well, we're doing it on our hands, like what going on?
No, we're doing it as fast as we can.
Oh.
So the first person to the rim and back wins a prize. Well, the first 10 people we're hoping will get prizes, and but the first one will get the best prize. So we've had this in the past, and we are hoping to do it again.
Right, nice.
And then we are planning a mascot competition, competition for the department. We've already well advanced in the planning stages. The criteria has already been drafted. We will be announcing the start of the competition shortly.
Okay, nice.
So that's our month in a nutshell. I will hand over to Eric now to talk about ecosystem restoration.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Ms. Hughes. Ecosystem restoration, that's the theme for this month. When we think of an ecosystem, we have to define it first, right? Is the dynamic community of living organisms interacting with their environment. So when we look around us in simple terms, we and our surroundings living in harmony, right? Creating balance, because that's what you need in life. You need to balance off the elements that we have in life, right? Mm-hmm. But when you talk about restoration, it tells you that something is off. It tells you something has been done that needs to be repaired, or we need to get back to where it once, or close to what it once used to be.
There's an imbalance.
There's an imbalance. And this imbalance has been created over a period of time, right? It's not a one-off thing. It has happened over time. And because of man's action and natural processes.
Every day I tell them the same thing.
Right? So when we say ecosystem restoration, it's a time now for us to take a step back and reflect on what we are doing to our environment. And in turn, not only to environment, to ourselves.
Imagine that.
Because whatever we do, the interaction is such. To every action, there's an equal reaction. So if the action is bad, the reaction would also be bad as well. So we need to reflect on what we are doing and see what needs to be done for us to reestablish that balance.
Right.
Natural processes also happen and create changes in the environment. These we have no control over. What we do have control over is how we react to it. Now, what we have seen in our communities, in our ecosystems, is that there is a rise in a lot of diseases, non-communicable diseases. There's a lot of stress, heat stress,
jade stress,
water stress.
Yeah.
You know, right now we're going through a drought period, and believe it or not, although a rainfall is a natural process, man activity have influenced those rainfall patterns, the distribution of the rainfall. You know, we live in a society where we are going away from a green environment to a concrete jungle.
Oh boy.
And it's not natural.
Right.
So of course the environment is going to react to that, and how we react to that, it redistributes our water supply.
Right.
Where rain used to fall, it is shifted to some other area, because these processes there are conditions that needs to be met to have that balance, to have that rainfall, to have that it have the correct temperature, the correct humidity.
Right.
What do we do? What are some of the things that we have done or are we doing that would offset the balance in our ecosystems? You know, there is this saying that says you want all, you get none at all. That is what we are doing to ourselves. We want all the land. And we want to cover the land with development. But then during this development, we fail to acknowledge and to respect the natural processes. We want to expand the community, the villages, houses here, and this there, but we don't want to plant a tree.
Oh boy.
We need to plant more trees.
Talk to them.
In your garden, plant a guava tree. People now start to concrete the yard.
Imagine that.
Because they want to sweep up the yard as they used to do when they were small. You ain't got to sweep up the yard, man. Just plant some trees. Plant some flowers. Plant some greenery. You know. Also, around us, we like to see for far. We want the view. So we don't want the trees in front of us. Planted some trees in the Cairn community some years ago. Got criticized for it. Because persons were saying, man, we want to see a nice lawn. But you see, what the grass does is not the same of what a big tree would do. Because the trees, what they do, they condition the environment, cools down the local environment, cools it down. And when you have this lower temperature, that is what facilitates the rainfall.
Oh, wow.
You remember elementary science, the water cycle? Water evaporates from a body of water, right? Goes over to the land. The body of water here being mainly the sea that we are surrounded by, comes over to the land. But when it hits the cooler air, then you have condensation. Condensation leads to precipitation, which is rainfall. Why we are having droughts, long drought spells, is one of the things is that because of the temperature, the average temperature over the land has increased over time. Why? You have roofs, streets, asphalt, concrete, and replacing trees.
Right, removal of the trees.
So the average temperature has in that local area has increased. So that cooling effect has been reduced.
Wow.
Reducing that, reduce your rainfall. So how do we correct that? How do we restore that? Plant some more trees.
Plant some trees.
Other aspects in everyday life that you can do. Reduce the carbon footprint. Do some more walking, no? Instead of driving 100 meters from your house to the shop, walk, man. You know, go back and walk, and you don't put some carbon monoxide and carbon dioxide back into the environment. You know, turn off the AC sometime. Reduce the amount of electricity you consume, because that consumes fossil fuel at the source.
Right.
You know, recycle material. Material includes water. When you're washing your car, instead of just having the hose running, use a bucket.
Simple.
You know, soak down, and then minimal did wash down, wipe off. You know,
right.
Reduce the recycle. Use less single-use plastics. You know, start to use your shopping bag again, instead of them filling up your house with all these plastic bags. Because when you throw them in the garbage, guess what? You realize over Canary, they're creating a mountain over there. You realize that mountain that is mounting up is a lot of plastics under there that is not breaking down at a fast rate. Soon we're going to have to find another landfill. But where are we going to put the other landfill? Because nobody wants a landfill in the community. You know, because of what? You say health hazard, the stench, and all of these kind of associated with it. Plus the space, there's a competition for land space. Where are you going to put this? But we can reduce that by recycling. You know, even your tires from your car. How do you recycle that? Man, that's easy. Use that in your garden. You plant in that, you fill that with soil, and you plant inside there. You know, and you use that in your home. Plant a garden. This is another way to restore. Plant a garden. Eat local. Right? Eat local. Now, when you eat local, how does this help to restore the ecosystem? Eat local means you're supporting the local farmer, which means he can have to plant more. And in planting more, he's putting more greenery in the landscape. Also, those food coming from overseas has to be packaged. So you're reducing also, because when you take that food out of the package, what you do with it? That's garbage.
Garbage, trash.
So you're reducing that garbage also, the amount of that as well. So eating local restores the environment. It supports livelihood as well. Eating local, so support the local farmer, the local agro-processor, the local vendor, right? And so therefore, restoring this, people is about a mind change. That is what we are about. Educating to change the mindset of persons. You know, in this way is to bring awareness. Take a step back. Look at your surroundings and say, what can I do? What can I do? It may seem simple and insignificant, but then my mother always told me, full basket.
Full basket.
So therefore, every little effort goes a long way. The children get them involved. From the smallest ones, get them involved. They're at home, right? They can't go to school, COVID on. But in the yard, they can teach them how to do some gardening. Teach them how to do some recycling. The banana peel and all of those things from their snacks. Put that in a bucket.
Compost it.
Yes, man. Top it off with some dirt. We did that in the Keon Primary School some years ago, and we won prizes for that. Local for fertilizer, prizes, first place. Come on, you know. All of this is also, when you put that back into your yard around, is also restoring. Restoring our ecosystem is saving livelihoods, is preserving lifestyle, preserving our health, right? We want to go out in the community and we want to have a wholesome life. It's all about balance.
I mean, it's so interesting. We don't always recognize the changes because sometimes they happen so gradually over time, and then by the time we realize, it's like, well, wait there. This morning I wake up, and I don't want to exaggerate, there may have been no less than maybe 3,000 monkeys in the yard. And it's like, this never happens all the time.
Exactly.
And so you have to ask yourself, well, what is it that we're doing to contribute to these changes? And now that we're here, what you're saying is, with some of these, don't cost you anything. As a matter of fact, it might save you. Some of these actions that you were suggesting, simple things we could institute. Plant a tree. Look at how how much trash you're generating and these kind of things. These are things that we could do. We could do them.
There are activities that persons take, and they're not mindful of the long term, right? And like I said when I started, the effects that we have had on the environment did not happen overnight. It happened over time. And many persons, why it happened is because we do not see, we don't see the long-term effect. The long-term effect I'm referring to, what we are seeing today, was the long-term effect from 10, 20 years back. Actions that person took years back. So if we want to have proper environment for the future, we got to start today.
Right.
Take, for instance, I'm going to go and talk about sand mining. Some look at it, hey, it's just dirt. But then, I just taking some dirt from here. Nobody using the area. Sand mining on the beach. Person said, "Man, me just take a little bit." Full basket. But here you have to recognize the natural processes that occurs. When you take sand from one area, what happens on the coastline is that the wave action of the ocean move the particles from one area to a next. And because the wave action changes throughout the year, this removal from one, depositing somewhere. That's what it does, from one area to the next. But if you go and take the sand from where it's taking it from, then there will be no sand to be deposited elsewhere. Right? So you're actually taking it out of the system. Right? And what then you end up with? Then you start to make noise, we ain't have no sand. There are countries that have to import sand. We may even reach to that stage of importing sand because persons disrupt that natural process.
Right.
You understand?
The delicate balance.
Delicate balance. The same thing in the guts. They go for gut sand. And they do the same thing. But what happens? A chain reaction occurs. Those who take in the sand, they don't look back.
Right.
But then the erosion happens. I will give you one scenario. Talk about the Washgut area. I live right next to Washgut. And over the years, Washgut was a sand mining area. It was designated a sand mining area. But then after the sand mining was stopped, because you got to reach to a point where you got to say enough is enough.
Right.
Person have this thing there saying sand does grow. Right? But then they went back illegally and started sand mining again. But what happened? These guys will go hit the side of the gut and then hit the bottom so that the top would fall.
Right.
What happened there is that at the top where I'm living, there was a road. There was designated a road. There was a buffer zone between the road and the gut. When that erosion started, when it finished, the buffer zone was gone, the road was gone, and it was just left the neighbor's backyard.
Oh, wow.
So you can imagine that? All that from illegal sand mining. Now, those taking the sand, they don't see that. They don't care about that. So we appeal to persons. Stop that practice. There are designated areas for sand mining.
Right.
Go to those designated areas and take according to what you are allowed to take. Because by doing illegal sand, you're actually putting your livelihood at risk. You're putting person's life at risk, people's property at risk, putting the environment at risk. Because we lose, in the example, we lose roads, but we may lose farmlands.
Right.
Less farmlands, we are losing food. We lose food, meaning the prices goes up, and you realize the domino effect. And then we start to cost. But it is not something that happens overnight. As I say, step back. See what we are doing.
Look at your actions.
What can I do? We have this thing in saying, what we. You see that what we is a means of taking out self.
Right.
It's a means of taking out the individual. Yes, there are actions that the collective can do. There are actions that agencies can do. There are actions that government can do. But nothing is stronger than what the individual can do.
Right.
It takes all of us. We at the department, we will continue to monitor for the sand mining, continue to monitor the ecosystem, looking at the forests. We invite persons to come to the forest. I'm asking you, come to the forest, enjoy the forest. But when you come, take pictures, leave only footprints. Stop the illegal dumping.
Oh boy.
People would go above the village and go in the guts. Nobody seeing them. They go at night and they dump their garbage there. Where do they think the garbage going?
Back in somebody's backyard.
Yeah, of course.
In the water system.
And it tends, when it reaches down to the village level, the community level, it's a plain. So the water no longer flows with force. So whatever is carrying gets stuck between rocks and roots and stay there, rotting, giving off gases. Gases that we're not supposed to be breathing in. And also these gases contribute to the warming effect. We talk about global warming.
Yep.
But here today, we're talking about local warming. Forget the global. Because we got to look at home first. The local, or what we call the micro environment, is what is being affected. The immediate environment. We got to reduce these ill effects that we are doing. Stop the dumping, man. Carry it over Canary. Another thing is, stop the load of burning up and down the place, man. Find some recycling methods tell person, invest in a chipper, no? TDC up there selling cheaper. TDC might give it to me this morning, but anyway. But I think they're going to feel good, because if they import cheap wood for people to use in the garden as mulch, man, if they could get a local source, I think they would feel even better,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
And so therefore, if persons could invest in that, when they cut down the branches, hurricane season coming in,
yeah, man.
Trim the back. Oh, let me make an appeal here for the hurricane season. Don't cut down the tree. Trim it. Trim it. Don't cut it down. Because when hurricane gone and the place start to get hot, now you want to put an AC and fan and send up your electricity bill, and then you start to cost the electricity bill too high, and then stress. Electricity stress and heat stress, and that can lead to all kind of diseases inside your body. Next thing, funeral homes business booming. We don't want that. We don't want that. Step back. Look at what we're doing. What can I do?
Right. I think that what you're saying is so important and so relevant to what's happening now. A lot of times we don't see the consequences of our actions because those consequences aren't immediate. And sometimes we feel as though, man, it's a small thing, a little thing. Man, I just want a 2 bucket or 2 trip. That's all. I just want, man, this trash here. I mean, driving all the way over, can't we go throw down this? So just go up the gut and throw down that. Not realizing that, there's long-lasting and far-reaching effects as a result of those actions. Unfortunately, time is running us down. But again, you guys have a full month of activities. Could you remind the people of things that are going to be happening, and so we could really be a part of what the department is doing?
Okay, so the minister will be speaking on Saturday, on World Environment Day. Then we have within the department, we have the hike to Black River and a visit to Nevis. Then there's the extreme hike to the crater on Saturday, 26th of June, and then our mascot competition. But before I go, I wanted to ask persons to check us out on what we are doing. Our Facebook page is Department of Environment St Kitts, or at Enviro SKN. Or we also have a web page. Our web address is environment.gov.kn. We also have an Instagram page.
Okay.
Yeah, we're modern. DOESKN. Right? And on our Facebook page, for instance, you'll find information like we're doing a species alphabet. We're highlighting different species within St Kitts and Nevis. We're doing a word of the week. This week it's drought. All kind of information on drought. And so a lot of different information on our Facebook page. So please check it out.
Awesome. So there's so much happening at the Department of Environment. Sometimes we may not even be aware of what's happening. But guys, I'm going to encourage you, go to their Facebook pages, go to the website, go to the Instagram so you could keep abreast of what the department is doing. Mr. Brown, you want a job at WINN FM? Because, people saying your voice sound like you make for radio,
Don't poach.
I wouldn't mind coming in and talk about environmental issues and all of that. I'll come back anytime.
All right then, man. So we're looking forward to you guys coming back and visiting us at some point. But guys, it's Thursday. It's Thursday. All day today, Thursday, June 3rd. We want to thank you guys for tuning in. We want to thank all you guys who commented on the live, all you guys who logged in, all you people who turned on your radios and take the time to listen to us. Really appreciate it. Remember, you could check us out on WINNMedia SKN on Facebook and YouTube. And you could also check us out on Instagram at IslandTSKN. But time is fast spent and we have a press conference coming up next.
Yes,
so we're heading out to here.
The Prime Minister himself?
What? Timo. Coming up next. Don't want to wait. But watch you now. We're going to hear, before we leave, from the Duke of Frigate, the Prosecco Papi, the Chapstick Don, Slim God, His Excellency Sir Kevin Hanley.
Because remember, you can't be everybody's cup of tea because you is not a mug. See you tomorrow.